This lecture is being listened to all over the world. So this session bridges the world of the academia and the real world. Over the years, we've seen our students, our past students, alumni of this of the department come to present real world solutions, real world problems, and how they were able to solve them. So it offers guidance to career paths for the younger generations that are coming. And also, we've seen emerging trends and also skills that are needed in this current day scenario. So I want to welcome you tonight for this special program. First of all, I want to welcome our special guest, the chairman, Engineer A.O. Ojedele, who is the chairman of Ibadan branch, NSC, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ibadan branch. And also with us tonight, we have our special guest of honor, Professor C.O.O. Kolawole. He is the Vice Chancellor of Trinity University, Lagos State. And tonight we are privileged to have one of our own, the guest of honor, Dr. Aderonke B. Ajav. She is the Director of Health Services, University of Ibadan. And also we must recognize our host, Professor V.O. Oladokun. He's the HOD of the department. Also with us tonight, we have students of the department and staff and alumni and others that are in the house today. I want to welcome you specially to this occasion. So tonight promises to be very, very engaging. We can see that the topic is very relevant to the current day buzz. We've been talking about AI and what is about AI. And one key question that keeps coming to mind is that will AI replace human? What will happen? Will AI take over all the jobs? I can remember one of the lecture series, we tried to address that issue, I think as the 36th lecture series. So tonight promises to be engaging. So I want us to sit back and relax as our lecturer tonight do justice to that. So without further ado, before I bring up the chairman for his to open the floor. So please, I want us to mute if you have not muted your mic, please, so that we can have a very nice, engaging lecture. Please mute yourself. So when the time comes for question and answer, you can do well by raising up your virtual hand, or you can send a chat in the chat box. So once again, I welcome you specially to tonight's engagement. So we will start by the chairman's opening remark. So the chairman is Engineer A.O. Ojedele, who happens to be the chairman of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ibadan branch. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Mr. Moderator.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Very well, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Thank you. A very good evening to everyone. I want to quickly recognize the dignitaries, the special guest of honor, who happen to be the Vice Chancellor of Trinity University, Lagos. Our own Professor C.O. Kolawole.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The guest of honor, Dr. Aderonke B. Ajav, a proactive health administrator. Mama Gio, the director of the University Health Service at the University of Ibadan.
Good evening, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Our host, who happen to be the head of departments, Industrial and Production Engineering, Engineer Professor Victor Oladokun, MNSC.
Good evening, sir.
Celebrated, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Initiative.
Thank you,
Then
sir.
the guest speaker, one of the alumni, Mrs. Fatima Mustafa Mumin, the manager, business planning and analytics at Amazon. You are fully recognized, ma'am. I want to acknowledge the presence of the Industrial and Production Engineering Alumni Association, the team. I acknowledge you. The members of the Department of Industrial Production and Engineering, you always acknowledge and recognize. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to welcome you to the 43rd Industrial and Production Engineering Alumni Association lecture series organized by the Department of Industrial and Production Engineering in collaboration with our esteemed alumni. Today's theme, beyond the prompts, building a data career AI can automate, challenges us to think deeper than tools and technologies. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming the data landscape. However, while AI can process information, it cannot replace critical thinking, domain expertise, ethical judgment, and the human ability to ask the right questions. These are the qualities that define a resilient and future-proof data career. As we all engage in today's discussions, I encourage us to look beyond how to use AI, and instead focus on how to remain ready by developing skills that machine cannot replicate. In conclusion, I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you, and I wish us all a production section. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, the chairman of tonight's occasion, Engineer A.O. Jadele.
Thank you,
MNSC.
sir.
Thank you very much for that short and brief opening remark. So tonight we want to listen to the goodwill message from our special guest of honor, the Vice Chancellor of Trinity University, Lagos State, Professor C.O.O. Kolawole. Professor.
Well, thank you so much, sir, the moderator. I thank the head of department. I thank the dean of the faculty. I thank members of the Alumni Association. I thank the guest lecturer. I thank the guest of honor. And I thank everyone that has made my invitation to this very important platform very possible tonight. And I have to say that I'm particularly very glad to be invited. That I consider very important, very creative, and very innovative. Because to prepare young engineers in training for the challenges ahead of them and to help them to prepare to confront those challenges. All of us are aware of the fact that today, globally, AI, artificial intelligence, has taken over referring to AI. But in spite of the fact that AI is ubiquitous, it has some limitations that we are all aware of. I was particularly very excited when some time ago I was working or trying to find out certain things about AI, artificial intelligence, and I found out that it's a mere imitation of what human beings have done. The fact that it's a mere imitation, which we call automation, presupposes that it's limited. Therefore, if the human beings have not done some things, it cannot be automated by artificial intelligence. So it is important for us to have a platform like this that will prepare graduates for the limitation of artificiality so that they can also look back into the realm of natural sequence, natural ways of doing things. So tonight's lecture, bridging beyond the prompt, building a data career AI cannot automate, simply tells them that as they are preparing to graduate from the university into the world of work, they need to be abreast of certain things that AI cannot do, that would depend on their own intelligence, depend on their own God-given natural abilities, that would depend on their own creativity. Those things that they will need to be able to deploy, to be able to cope with the world of work, and then to make it a success in life. So I welcome all of us once again to the platform that is very exciting, that will prepare us for all of these possibilities, and that will help us to be sufficiently prepared to navigate our world beyond artificial intelligence. So once again, I welcome all of us here. I want to wish the lecturer the best of tonight. An outing that I believe all of us will take one or two things away from that will help us to continue to do very well in our various endeavors. So once again, I appreciate the honor of my being here. On behalf of myself and members of my university, Trinity University, I say thank you for the honor of my being here. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you very much, sir. The Vice Chancellor, Trinity University, Lagos State. Thank you very much for that wonderful, good message. Also with us tonight, we will take goodwill message from our guest of honor, Dr. Aderonke Ajaf. She is the Director of Health Services, University of Ibadan, which we popularly call Jaja Clinic. Good evening, ma.
Jaja.
Dr. Aderonke, ma.
Good. Okay. Good evening. Yes, sir. I've unmuted. Good evening. And I would like to be allowed to make use of the existing protocols, but I must appreciate Professor Kolawole. We were together on the call on Wednesday. I didn't know it was Professor Kolawole of UI. I'm sorry, sir. So good evening, especially, and to everybody, the guest lecturer, good evening. I want to appreciate the organizers for this great honor. And I'm greeting us on behalf of my husband and I. I also want to thank you for providing a platform for productive engagement of minds and doing so sustainably over the years, and especially by making use of the alumni in an innovative manner. I salute that, and as I said on Wednesday, it can only get better, and I wish you all the best. As Director of Health Service in this University of Ibadan, I believe that's the platform that has brought me on, and I want to say that we adopted a model of healthcare delivery when it pleased God to bring me on, that comprises what the World Health Organization considers as the best model yet that they want to be utilized in healthcare delivery. And it comprises, one, empowerment of individuals and communities by education. That's the number one. Number two is multi-sectoral policy and action. And number three is a good health center. So this lecture involving me in it has captured number one and number two. Number one is empowering by education. Number two is multi-sectoral policy and action. Professor Oladokun took us through what this multi-sectoral aspect might be, including students of their department doing their internship in the University Health Service, and so on like that. I don't have all the time to elaborate on that anymore. So the third one also, which is a good health center, by participating in this lecture, you are making me a better person, a better director, better medical administration, wellness physician. So the University Health Service, the Health Center of University stands to gain a lot from that and to become better. So this lecture is, I feel at home, as I expect the lecturer to take us through what is most very apt, as a time like this, when almost every caution is being thrown to the wind to say that AI is everything, AI is everything. I believe that the caution to see that AI is not everything and to be very intentional about putting it where it belongs is a right one at this time. So I feel at home, and I want to say that at the beginning of 2026, I announced in the Universal Health Service that this is the year we want to ensure automation of virtually all our processes. Those who work in UI know that we used to do something called biological children. We automated it. We used to do something called staff children for also university. We've automated it. And we are working on, like when you want to do medical screening, you should be able to get your code for when to come without just coming and saying there are too many people, I'm going away. You should be able to come because you have filled a form ahead and the time for you to come is been given to you. So we are making it more efficient and so on like that. So that, and because we want to be available globally without much ado. So this year we said automation and globalization. And so I'm happy that I've been invited to this platform. And if I must drop any other message, it is this: you are your own primary healthcare provider. Please play your role to preserve and promote your health in every way possible. Thank you very much. I wish us a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma. Thank you. We are so glad to hear that at least there's a common ground between the department and also health services. Thank you very much, ma. I'm so glad to have you tonight. Tonight's lecture is titled Beyond the Prompt, Building a Data Career AI. AI can't automate. And tonight we have our guest lecturer, Fatima Mustafa Umi. She graduated from the department in the year 2012. She happened to be my senior colleague. I'm so glad to have you tonight. So before we go to the business of the day, we have Dr. Taiwo in our midst. He's going to take the citation of the guest lecturer. Dr. Taiwo Adedeji is also had been a guest lecturer on this platform. And as Prof said, when we were doing the prep meeting, they had to switch roles today. She took the citation of Dr. Adedeji. And tonight, I'm so honored to have Dr. Taiwo Adedeji also here to take the citation of our guest lecturer, Dr. Taiwo Adedeji.
All right. So for me, it's a real privilege and honestly a great pleasure to be the one introducing our esteemed speaker today. So I will just quickly go through our speaker's citation, and thereafter she can come on board. Okay. So our speaker today is Fatima Mustafa Mumi. Fatima is a visionary leader whose depth of expertise has profoundly influenced both the operational and analytical strategies for over a decade. Fatima is widely recognized for her pioneering work in developing decision intelligence systems that seamlessly integrate advanced analytics, automation, and human insight, consistently achieving robust and multi-million-dollar strategic business impact. In her current role, Fatima leads the business planning and analytics team at Amazon, where her leadership is felt throughout the organization. She has developed several enterprise-wide analytics ecosystems that empower leaders to make decisions with greater speed, intelligence, and accountability. Her unwavering dedication to designing self-service analytics platforms ensures that thousands of users across the enterprise are equipped each day with tools that foster autonomy, while decision makers retain full control over critical processes. Through the integration of predictive modeling, demand forecasting, and capacity optimization within meticulously governed workflows, Fatima's work has reduced manual processes. It has enhanced decision quality, recovered substantial productive capacity, and delivered multi-million-dollar cost savings, all while upholding transparency and operational stewardship. Fatima is particularly respected for her ability to transform AI-driven signals into actionable executive insights, ensuring analytics serves to augment and not to supplant human judgment. Her distinguished global career spans through financial analytics, supply chain optimization, and business intelligence, with impactful contributions at leading organizations such as Kia Motors, Procter& and Gamble, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Kforce Incorporated. Fatima's technical proficiency encompasses SQL, the use of Python, and the Amazon Web Service, analytics, and data engineering platforms. She's a passionate advocate for robust data governance, model accountability, and human-centric system design, consistently emphasizing the importance of ethical considerations in all our work. And as a dedicated mentor, Fatima cultivates analysts and leaders who excel at the intersection of artificial intelligence and strategic business decision making, guiding them to embrace both innovative technology and principled leadership. Fatima holds a Master's of Science in Engineering and Industrial Management from the University of Houston, Clear Lake, and a Bachelor of Science in Industrial and Production Engineering from the University of Ibadan. She is a recognized award-winning leader, certified project manager, and Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, celebrated for her ability to influence without formal authority and for championing responsible AI adoption. Fatima's career stands as a testament to the transformative power of intelligent systems to empower individuals, bolster decision confidence, and drive enduring operational excellence. Beyond her impressive professional achievements, Fatima is known for her commitment to fostering collaboration, inclusivity, and lifelong learning within her teams and throughout the broader analytics community. So please join me in giving a warm and enthusiastic welcome to Fatima. Her dedication and expertise are helping shape the future of analytic driven decision making. So we are especially glad she's here to make sense of all the data that we've been pretending to understand. So we're looking forward to hearing your insights and most importantly, learning from your experience.
Well, thank you so much, my prof. And to the profs of the house, please permit me to use the title prof for Dr. Adedeji. He and I have come a really long way, and it's truly my prof. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Engineer Adeoshu, can you please confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. I am very thrilled to be here today to talk about something that I know keeps a lot of people, up at night. I think it was the special guest of honor that alluded to the fact that we're all very worried about the future of, our jobs with AI and whatnot. But first, I would like to greet all the VIPs in the house. We're all VIPs, by the way, but permit me to specially greet the special guest of honor, Professor Kolawole, our guest of honor, Dr. Wajav, chairman of this event, Engineer Ojedele, the moderator, Engineer Adeosun, and our host, Professor Oladokun. Thank you so much, Professor, for inviting me to come to this platform and share my experience, my knowledge of the industry to, the next generations of graduates that we have coming out of the university, as well as to other professionals in the professional world. I'm truly humbled by this invitation, because for me, it's like a full circle moment. Professor Oladokun was one of my lecturers, and he lectured me on different courses, and here I am today on the other end, being the one providing a lecture to him. I'm a small girl, so please forgive any missteps or strategy that I use in delivering this lecture. Now to the topic of today, which is beyond the prompt. I think it's been said a lot of times today, beyond the prompt, beyond the prompt. We're trying to discuss how we can build a data career that AI can automate. Before I dive in, I would like to clarify something really critical here, which is that while this session focuses more on data career, right? The three skills that I will mainly talk about today are actually transferable to any discipline at all. It's not restricted to just careers in AI. It's applicable to analytics, operations, finance, marketing, name it, any field at all where AI is reshaping how we're doing our day-to-day tasks, how work gets done. But career, I chose data career largely because I'm a data person. That's who I am. I live and breathe the data. And I believe that data doesn't lie. So, all right. Over the last decade, over the last 10 years or so, AI has fundamentally transformed the world of data analytics. And it's not necessarily just by the fact that it's eliminating roles, but it's also by the way it's automating all our routine tasks, our manual processes, the things that would normally take us several hours or several days to be able to achieve. AI is helping us move past that, right? And as industrial engineers or problem solvers, we're people who lean processes, we optimize processes, we remove waste from our processes, right? So I believe as industrial engineers, if anything, we should better embrace AI as opposed to having a fear of AI, because if anything, AI is here to complement how we work and not necessarily a competitor with us, right? Couple of things that I'll note before getting into the topic is one goal that I have of this conversation or of this lecture is for students and early career professionals. My goal is to offer practical strategies that you can use in standing out when you're trying to apply for your first roles, getting out of the university, or you're trying to switch role if you're within your 2 to 5 years of career. For mid-career professionals or senior level professionals, my goal here is for you to be able to gain frameworks for leading AI adoption within your teams, within your organization, how you can mentor your teams to have better perception of what AI truly is, and how you can demonstrate strategic impacts. For the faculty, for academic faculty, our lecturers in the house, our professors, all you that you're involved in designing our curriculum, I want to use this session to provide insights into the evolving industry expectations and practical approaches for integrating business context, ethical judgments, and AI-augmented problem solving into our educational curriculum. Here's a list of the topics that I'll talk about today. The last one, which is Let's Go Beyond, is more around Q&A session. I hope I'll have enough time during this session, but otherwise we can always sync offline, reach out to me through LinkedIn or whatnot. And I'll be more than happy to address any additional questions that anyone has. All right. I'd like to do a quick survey just because everyone is in here, I don't know who is who, I don't know what your perception of AI is, and I really like to get a feel of the people I have in my audience, people listening to me, what you feel about AI, and your perception of what AI is. If you can just scan the QR code you have on the screen, it will take you to this list of questions that I have here. I can also drop in the chat room a link to it. So if you want to address, or if you want to get to it through the link, feel free to do that. If you want to use the QR code, please do that. Let's just try to answer the few questions that you have in there. The idea is for me to just understand who my audience are and be able to better tailor my presentation towards you all. So just a quick 30 seconds survey here. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Seems like a lot of people are very curious in terms of the AI literacy level. We also have a disparity amongst how comfortable folks are. Majority, 40% are sitting in the very uncomfortable bucket of how they feel about AI. Okay, cool. I think we're in a good spot. All right. I'm gonna dive into the presentation then. All right. Okay, just a quick background here. I started my career pretty much with Kia, internship with Kia. And during my internship over there, I worked in different capacity and largely moved between service advisor to storekeeper to mechanic at the back end of the workshop. But there was one piece that I really found interesting was a project that myself and a classmate of I embarked upon, which was applying the principle of just-in-time to model their inventory at Kia back then. There was a huge problem where they were storing a lot of inventory at the time. And a lot of customers, whenever they came in, there was always that response of, hey, we don't have XYZ parts, we don't have brake pads, or we don't have oil filter, we have to place an order for it. And there was always a lead time during that period, right? The problem was no one was tracking the frequency of how that was happening, and no one was also tracking the fact that we're losing sales from those events, right? So one thing I used in identifying that as a problem was tracking that data, using data to track it, right? Unfortunately, the data also wasn't readily available. So things that things that I see now that I'm able to address easily were things that I had to do manually back then, right? Try to identify data sources, pull the data sources, clean the data, manipulate the data. It was a lot of work that had to go into just being able to get a solution, even get a data to be able to prescribe solution for a problem. So it was a very huge problem back then, right? The then versus now shifts. Like I said, when I look back now and what I have to use AI for today, I'm able to say, okay, if I had this problem 10, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have been able to better solve the problem in a shorter period of time as opposed to how long it actually took me to solve the problem. Long story short, it takes a lot of time, or it took me a lot of time to be able to just curate a single data set to provide a reasonable solution for a problem that existed within Kia. And that's the story between the then versus now shift. Back in the day, the primary focus was more around execution. It was around the mechanics of being able to write the right code, get the right queries, get the right data sources. You're being valued by your ability to write good codes, long scripts, extract data. That has shifted, right? Primary focus right now is not around writing the code. AI will do that for you. What you're being focused or what you're being looked upon to do right now is more strategic. The whys behind what you're doing. Why are you pulling this analysis? Understanding not just how to pull the data, but which questions are worth asking in the first place, right? So when there is a problem, it's not about where am I pulling the data? It's more question around why are we not doing XYZ things? Why are we missing out on sales? Why are we keeping a large inventory and at the same time being out of stock on other consumables? Those are the kind of things you need to start thinking about, not the rudimentary query writing or spending a lot of time identifying where to pull the data from. Ensuring that your questions around the whys helps you bridge the gap between the data you're pulling and the business objectives or the business goal that you're trying to achieve. Secondly is a technical barrier. The barrier back then was more around being able to have the right SQL command, being exposed to the right Python libraries, pretty much being able to write great queries or being held to the highest esteem on how good you're able to write SQL commands, different intricacies of different programming languages. In today's world is no longer around that. That barrier has shifted. The barrier right now has shifted more towards logic, right? The barrier now determines, the barrier is now based on the ability to structure effective prompts. You're thinking critically about the data relationships and the architecture of your solutions. The technical knowledge is still valid because, again, you still have to be able to understand or decipher when AI is giving you crappy solutions or crappy codes. So the technical knowledge is still very important, but it's no longer the differentiator between back in the day and now of the AI era. Data cleaning. I cited an example earlier on around how long it took me just to be able to manipulate the available data, clean the data to be able to prescribe solution. It took a lot of time then. It was very, very manual. It was very, very time consuming. It took 80% of my time just being able to curate the right data set to prescribe a right solution to leadership. In today's world, that is no longer the case, right? You can do that in a lot less time. Less than 10% of your time right now will be on data cleaning, because now you're able to use prompts to be able to clean your data more efficiently and effectively. Going to deliverables back then was more static. It was really not a lot as intuitive as what the expectation is nowadays. Back then, all you had to do was just to build a dashboard, fix visualizations that answered specific questions, but required manual updates and couldn't adapt to new inquiries. So for example, if somebody needed an additional layer of response or questions to be clarified, back then the reports wouldn't be able to do that. Somebody will have to go back in again and rebuild it to be able to suit the purpose of the new inquiry or the new questions. In today's world, now you're not just delivering static dashboard or reports. You're going beyond that level. You're building a report that has both recommendation and an action plan. So the game changer here now is no longer, oh, this is the sales data. No, the game plan now is, this is the sales data that shows you where you're losing costs or where you're losing sales. And these are the action plans that you need to take. Improve your marketing strategy in XYZ locations and things of such nature. That is the next level. That is the current state now with the availability of AI. The moat. What sets you apart from the next person? It's not your ability to write SQL queries anymore, right? Back in the day, your competitive advantage was how you were able to completely transform the queries that you wrote, right? How your queries are very technical, how long you can write queries and whatnot. But in today's world, being the one who understands the business context, you're not now just writing the queries to address business problems or business questions. Now you understand the business context that would even determine what kind of queries you need to be writing to begin with. What kind of prompts do you need to be providing to AI to give you the right outputs to solve business problems based on the business context that you have. And lastly is communication. We technical people, a lot of technical people always find this as there's a huge gap between this, right? How things are being communicated. In the past, we communicate this just based on, this is how I got the data and this is what the data is showing. And this is the dashboard that we have built. So we've moved off of that. What you now need to do with the data now is telling the CEO, telling the director, or telling the leader, this is what you need to do. You need to be able to influence the executive decision-making process. You may be small just because you feel, oh, I'm just a data analyst or I'm just a business analyst. However, the data that you're curating, the analysis and strategic directions that you're providing are going to be used by these senior leaders, these directors, and senior leaders of your organization or wherever you find yourself. We've technically moved away from being technical translators to being strategic advisors. One key point that I want to mention here is that AI has not necessarily eliminated data jobs. It has actually automated the tedious parts and elevated what remains, meaning that, like I said earlier, it took me hours and days to be able to just curate data sets that I need to use to solve a business problem, which I see that exists, right? But in current states, now I'm able to delegate that to an AI tool to do all those work for me. I can now pay more attention to more strategic processes, strategic decision-making, prescribe more strategic solutions as opposed to working through data cleaning. Let's address the elephant in the room. I think one of the speakers had alluded to the fact that AI is taking our jobs, right? AI is automating our work. Do we trust AI and things like that? One question I'll clarify that I'll talk about here is, or that I'll quickly mention is there still room for entry-level analysts? That's a very, very good question. The simple answer there is yes. I mean, there is still room for entry-level analysts, but it's a much more complicated question than just a yes or no answer, right? The reality check. The junior tasks like basic reporting and boilerplate code are being automated right now. At the bottom of this ladder down here, you see the processes that are currently being automated away. The day one expectation has shifted. Right now, in the past, day one was, oh, you're going to pull the data, you're going to be able to manipulate the data, clean out, build reporting out of it. That has changed, right? Your day one or your year two expectations right now are your day one expectations into this world. Things that you would normally be doing by your year two is your expectation for day one. All those junior tasks that have been automated away, but it has created a vacuum at a higher level for new graduates to fill. So meaning that you're coming out of school, you're coming out of college, you're not going to that very rudimentary level of basic, unnecessary, repetitive tasks. You're going into more strategic insight level kind of task. Companies are hiring very few juniors at that very automated away level, right? But where they are hiring junior level employees are at that insight and analysis level, and they're paying a lot more than they would ordinarily have paid an entry level employee who are still working around the tasks that have already been automated. Similarly, the bar has also risen for senior advisors or senior level employees, managers, and directors alike. Everyone right now has to be at their A game when it comes to how they're dealing with AI and how they're using AI to run their businesses in today's world. The hook in this case, which is going beyond the prompts, wherever AI starts is where you as a human come in, right? So where AI's capability ends at a point, which is where you come in. Knowing how to code is no longer a career anymore, right? Knowing what to solve is the new career. Knowing how to identify the business problem, because a lot of times some problems are not pretty easy to define, right? Even customers or stakeholders or business leaders don't know how to articulate what the problem is. You as a data leader, you as a data professional, you need to be able to identify those problems and be able to define the problem to them so they can be able to understand it and align with it before you build solutions to the problem. For instance, recognizing that a 12% revenue increase is actually bad news, given that market has grown 20%. So when you're using data to define that, oh, we have a 12% increase in revenue, but again, we had a 20% increase in market growth. Why are we still stuck behind just 12% growth? Sorry, 12% improvement in revenue. So you need to be able to use your technicalities to define your strategic performance strategic thinking to guide how you would deal with those intricacies around moving from how things used to be and how things are right now. Again, this bottom rung ladder is out the way, right? But that means the remaining rungs get you higher and faster. The professionals who adapt to this, who start building their capacity or their capability based on what has been automated away, they get to skip those 2 levels, right? And they climb the ladder a lot quicker. The ones who don't, so the ones who don't adopt AI, the ones who think AI is not actually something I need to use, or they don't complement their skills with AI, they will continue to compete at that bottom rung where you have the data entry and reporting. And trust me, a lot of them are going to lose because AI is doing things a lot more efficient and a lot faster than they would be able to do it. One statistic that I'll call out again in the bid to clarify the fact that AI is taking jobs away, AI is taking jobs away. True. But here is the caveat there. According to statistics, 85 million jobs have been displaced by automation. That's valid. However, 97 million new roles have been created. And these new roles that have been created require human AI collaboration, meaning that we have about 12 million more jobs than we had in the past before AI was introduced. Now we have 12 million jobs that we can fill by better collaboration or building better collaboration with AI. Next, so if we're saying AI can do 90% of the technical work, then why do companies still need us, right? 90% should be good enough. Ironically, 90% is not good enough, right? Because when we talk about 90% being good enough, that means that if I send a text in an error, that 10% of failure, if I send a text to a friend and it fails, or I send a wrong text to somebody who who is a friend, I can just apologize to that person and say, hey, sorry, that was a mistake, right? Where it becomes a problem is I send a legal or a confidential document, some to someone who I'm not supposed to send it to, or I send it through an AI tool to generate some kind of solutions to it. And that particular confidential information gets leaked. Then I am susceptible to litigations. My credibility is being questioned as to why I have exposed such confidential information out. And that's because I used an AI tool or a ChatGPT. There's something called AI hallucination problem. This is where AI generates plausible but factually incorrect information without warning, meaning that you put something through to an AI, you send a prompt in, and AI provides you with a response. To you, it sounds very correct, 100% correct, but it's factually incorrect. Models present errors with the same confidence as facts, because they don't know when they are wrong, right? Because again, there's no ethical judgments, there's no business context for them to determine or to define when they're wrong or when they're saying something that is valid. All they have been provided is based on the inputs or the knowledge that they have been built upon. That's what they will use as outputs that it will provide you responses on. It's a fundamental characteristic of current large language models to have those bugs in them. So, and they're not temporary, by the way. The bugs that we're talking about are not temporary. 90% accuracy, as I mentioned earlier, may sound very fascinating. It's very impressive, right? If you write a course today and you get 90% in your exam, I mean, you're already a high flyer, you're getting an A in that course, right? But A is not good enough, right? When we talk about financial report, when you have an error, the 10% error there could lead to litigations for you. For instance, in 2023, a New York lawyer submitted court filings that cited 6 case precedents, right? All these case precedents were actually fabricated by ChatGPT. The AI generated very convincing, very, very convincing, but entirely fictional case citations. This lawyer faced a lot of sanctions, professional consequences, just as a result of using the output of what he got from ChatGPT, but never verified the accuracy of those citations that he used. AI was 100% accurate, 100% correct. I mean, confident, but it was 0% accurate because the data being used was just factual, was not factual. This is where you come in. This is the value that you bring to the table as a human, as somebody who is a truth auditor in this case, as somebody who is able to vouch and validate the data being used, as someone who drives, who has ethical judgment, as somebody who understands the context being used in the particular case that you're dealing with, right? So we as humans, we as data professionals, we need to be able to verify, validate, and vouch what AI generates. AI may be 90% accurate, but where the pitfall lies is that extra 10%, and that is the value that we would have to hold as humans and bridge that gap to get to that 100%. So the AI is powerful, right? AI is very, very good, very powerful, but it needs to be, we need to be its quality control, right? That's not a defensive role, because again, that 90% is good, but no company is going to operate on that 90%. They need to be able to protect themselves against the exposure of the remaining 10%. So for us, that defensive, that's 10% that we as human hold as the value holders for that is not a defensive one, it's a strategic one. We're shifting from being executors to verifiers, to validators, right? We're the ones who continue to validate and vouch for what AI has generated based on that collaboration that we have built. Oops, wrong slide. Okay, moving on, right? This next slide is an interesting one. I think I mentioned how earlier in my career, the things I had to do to extract data just to be able to solve a problem or solve a business problem. I might as well just have been a data janitor, right? Because all I did back then was pull data, pull data, pull data. I did a lot of data manipulations, cleanups, and as a lot of times, pretty much just be a human calculator at that point, right? Today, I'm more of a decision architect. I design strategies that move the business forward, because All those data manipulation, cleanups and whatnot have been outsourced to AI, right? And of course, I said outsourced to AI, not without my guidance, because again, I am still the one guiding the tool, guiding AI on exactly the data to use, how to use it, and what duration or what kind of time frame it needs to use it for. The decision architect right now is, it has shifted from from the old role, it used to be how to pull the data. Right now, it's more on being a decision architect. Why does this matter and what's the impact? So now you're defining strategic questions, you're prescribing business actions based on the fact that AI has done all the data manipulation for you. Now you have the curated data that is needed to drive strategic solutions. So think yourself more as a strategic partner, not a human calculator going forward. The script I have that back then, in 2016, I was a human calculator. That's the truth. Today, my value lives entirely beyond execution. I'm no longer the person who writes code, several lines of codes. It's gone beyond that. Now I'm more strategic. I'm more in that thinking phase, not the typing phase. So more strategic, less execution in terms of code writing. Moving down here to this next slide. This is an interesting one. If you forget anything I say today, please do not forget these 3 skills that I'm about to talk about. I mentioned earlier that the conversation today was tailored towards data professionals. However, the skills that are going to be talked about today are applicable to other business lines. Like, it doesn't have to be data. It could be manufacturing, operations, supply chain, anywhere where AI right now is being integrated into. It's the prompt engineering, business context, and ethical judgments. I'm sure you've heard me mention business context a number of times, same as ethical judgment or ethical reasoning. I'll take the first one, which is prompt engineering. So this is the idea of speaking the language of the machine, pretty much directing the machine on what to produce and not just asking it what to produce. You're more directional in this case, right? Prompt engineering is the skill of translating fuzzy business questions into precise, structured instructions that AI can act on reliably. So you're able to craft precise contextual prompts, chain complex multi-step analysis, know when AI is wrong before it is, right? I'll give you a quick example on prompt engineering here. Instead of asking AI, provide me a meal plan for a week, something around those lines, I will be much more robust in the question or the prompts that I'll provide to AI, being a prompt engineer. And instead of saying, provide me a meal plan for the week, I would ask it, provide a meal plan for Fatima based on XYZ characteristics of what Fatima likes. Fatima likes spicy food. Fatima likes meals from Southwest Nigeria. Fatima likes this XYZ, or these are the Fatima's dietary restrictions. Those would have been properly defined in my initial prompt to the AI tool that I'm interacting with, so that whenever the tool comes back with a response, it's going to be tailored to what Fatima likes and not what another person who is not Fatima likes. And that's how you build a better mechanism towards prompt, right? And one thing you should also know is that when you prompt an AI tool, you have to do you have to iterate multiple times, right? Your initial response is usually not the best solution to the question or the problem you're trying to solve. You have to iterate at least 5 to 10 times. The more you do it, the more you fine tune your prompts, the better the solution or the results you get from that AI tool. Business context. This is understanding the why behind the numbers, right? It's the skill of understanding what your organizational dynamics are, what your priorities are, what the goals of the organization is. AI wouldn't know that for sure. AI wouldn't know what your company goals are. AI wouldn't know what the KPIs are. If you go into a meeting right now and they say, oh no, we're running a promo next week, right? Or we need to change XYZ goal for the organization. You know that, but the AI tool doesn't know it, right? If you build any kind of reporting around that moment, it's more than likely going to give you incorrect data, and you will just be crying foul when that's not the case, as the business has changed. For instance, if you're a company that operates during Christmas period, as an example, so year over year, your sales, you have sales coming in year over year. And a particular year you decide, oh, you know what, we're closed down this year for December 25th because we want our staff to enjoy Christmas at home, and they close, right? If you pull data through AI for such a period and say, hey, analyze the sales report for year-over-year performance between these 2 years, or between however number of years, the year where you close is going to show you that you have made a lot of loss during that year. But in reality, you didn't make any loss, right? Because that was an intentional decision that the company had made to close down the 25th of December for that particular year. And it was not sales loss, technically. It was more of a decision made by the leaders of that organization. So that's kind of how business contexts work. You understand the why behind it. AI doesn't know the why behind those things. When decisions change, when goals change, when targets change, AI doesn't have that information real time. You as the data practitioner, or you as the person who is an SME in that particular business, is able to understand it a lot better. In terms of business context as well, I'll use us as industrial engineers as an example. So if you have data being provided to you by AI, as a supply chain expert or as a logistics expert, you're easily able to debug any of the outputs you get from AI if it's giving you misleading data because of the limited amount of information it has to walk through. And that's kind of the role of where the role business context plays that AI doesn't have, right? The third one is ethical judgments. AI's got no ethical judgments, like zero. AI doesn't have it because it's not something that AI can be taught, right? Even as humans, ethical judgment is, I think, is the hardest skill to be taught in a classroom. I don't know if it's being able to be taught anyway. Morals are hard to define. They're hard to teach. You have to build upon it. The older you get, or the better you grow, or the more you grow, excuse me. So ethical judgment is one area that will more than likely define us as career professionals, and also will be defining companies on the long run. It requires you to recognize when a data set contains proxy variables for protected characteristics. When I say protected characteristics, for example, now, if, for example, I'm in an environment that is predominantly male and I'm Black, maybe they are all Caucasians, and I'm predominantly, I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm a Muslim, and they do some data analysis around that particular environment, I'm in the minority, right? Every solution that comes out of that would actually not factor me into it, because again, I am in the minority. So the demographic of that data set is already biased, is already skewed. So AI doesn't understand that, and AI will just prescribe solution based on the large data set that it's working with. I mean, 90% of people fall in this bucket. Yeah, 90%, everybody, then we can attribute everybody to the same bucket as the 90%, even if there is that 10% like myself who fall in the external category, not with the rest of the 90%. So these three skills, they work as a triangle. It's not one or the other. It's all three of them. If you remove one of them, everything is going to crumble. Everything is going to crumble if you remove one of them. Excuse me. So incorporating all these three is a power skill that we need to have. One quote that I want to say is, take these three skills very critically, as they are, like I said, applicable or transferable to other professions. A great business communicator who cannot use AI is definitely obsolete, right? So you need to be able to use AI when you're using your prompt engineering. Make sure you're building upon how you prompt, right? An AI power user, somebody who is just AI dependent with no business context, is dangerous. So if you don't have a business context and you're always just relying on AI, you're either going to be crying foul when there is no issue, or just driving leadership nuts with the output of what you're delivering. And lastly, a technical expert without ethical judgment is a liability. Again, if you do not have ethical judgment in what you're solving or in the solution you're prescribing, you not only will be leading your company or your organization towards defamation or litigations in some cases, but you're definitely going to be a liability to that organization because you're not thinking morals, you're not adopting your morals to make decisions. These three skills live beyond the prompts. AI amplifies them, but it can never replicate them. You have to be the human, the one with the core of the business context, as well as the ethical judgment. Okay. All right. Now I've talked about those three skills, which is prompt engineering, business context, and ethical judgment. I want to use a case study to better explain that or take that to the next level. And I'm going to be using a real life case study. Anyway, this is a case study of Goldman Sachs Apple Card algorithm, and this is their credit card. This was in 2019. Just to give you a quick setup of what the incident was. So in 2019, Goldman Sachs launched the Apple credit card with an AI algorithm to determine credit limits. So pretty much using an algorithm to determine if you should give somebody 5,000 as their credit limit or say 50,000 as their credit limit. The system analyzed thousands of data points to make lending decisions. But customers quickly noticed something troubling. The algorithm was granting significantly higher credit limits to men than to women, even when they had similar financial situation, right? So we have an algorithm that we have fed with XYZ prompts that has now been published or being pushed to production to start prescribing credit limits to applicants. Even when applicants have the same similar financial profiles, we still see the tool or the AI prescribing different credit limits to those different individuals with the same profiles, right? I'll open it to the floor. This is the moment where you can come up to speak. I would like to hear your thoughts on what failed exactly amongst the three prompts, or what failed amongst the three prompts or the three skills that I mentioned earlier, which is your prompt engineering, your business context, and your ethical judgment. What could Goldman Sachs have done differently using these three skills to prevent an issue similar to what we have right now? I'd like to see anyone just come off mute. Feel free to. Oh, I could pick somebody up. Any takers? Okay, I don't see any takers. Prof, would you like to take a peek at this? I mean, Professor Ladukun. Ethical standards. Okay, that's close. Any other takers? Prof, I don't see you coming off mute. I think I took permission from the beginning that I may be calling you to ask you some questions. Okay. In the interest of time, I will go ahead and just walk through the rest of it. Business context, absolutely. Prompt engineering, absolutely, yes. So all three of these pillars actually did fail. The first pillar, which is the prompt engineering. So this was pretty limited, right? Because like I said, same people with similar profiles, but having different credit limits. And that's because to begin with, our prompt engineering was flawed, right? The algorithm optimized for credit worthiness, but lacked fairness constraints, right? So we're talking about an algorithm that wasn't looking at fairness at all to determine how much should be provided to be provided to different people with the same profiles. A better prompt would have been predict credit worthiness while ensuring equal treatment across demographics, right? So every demographic that you'd have pulled within the data set should have equal treatment. There shouldn't be one taking priority over the other, or gender for male being awarded a higher credit limit and a woman being awarded a lot less credit limit. The second was the business context. The algorithm was optimized to predict credit worthiness. Sorry. The team lacked understanding of historical data on the lending discrimination patterns that we have seen in the world where women were being awarded less credits than men. The tool didn't have that context at all and didn't use that in determining credit worthiness for the different applicants in the pool. It wasn't able to flag any disparities in the approval rates or even the credit limits by gender. And it wasn't able to identify variables, how the different variables might serve as proxies for the protected characteristics. It could have swung the other way as well. It could have been a Black person versus a white person. It's going to be the same skewness, but in this particular example, it was a man versus a woman. The last one was ethical judgments. No one ever cared to check, right? So whenever you're making decisions, right, that would impact a lot of people, there should be checks and balances put in place, right? But no one was able to have checked if we should deploy this algorithm without auditing the demographic disparities. No one was able to identify who could be harmed, by what the model perpetuates as inequities. No one was able to do that. Who could be harmed was not a question that they had addressed at all. So all three of these pillars crumbled just based on how the AI algorithm was built. And there's consequence for every action, right? Remember the 90% of the time of accuracy versus 10% slide that I shared earlier? That 10% slide was where Goldman Sachs found themselves at the end of the day. The catch here was that there was a backlash, right? People noticed it immediately. For instance, this tech entrepreneur, between he and his wife had a better credit rating, but she had a lower credit awarded to her, which is absolutely wrong, right? She should have had the better credit awarded, but she had the lower one. Goldman Sachs faced regulatory investigations. They faced a lot of widespread criticism and also reputational damage. Although there was no lasting consequence for it, right, in terms of any wrongdoings. But I mean, their credibility was already tarnished, right? And that's the implication of how quickly things can spiral. This is a very good example. This is a very mild example. It could be as bad as lives being lost, companies having to shut down just because of not having those three pillars or those three skills better used while evaluating decisions that you're trying to prescribe to a large set of people. The lesson here, the algorithm wasn't broken. Technically, it wasn't broken. It was doing exactly what it was told to do, right? It was optimizing based on the data it received, but it was missing the three critical human elements. Like I said, those three skills are very critical in decision-making process. And we as humans are the only ones who can really leverage those skills because AI cannot do it. The ability to structure prompts, fairness constraints in your prompt engineer, you have to do that. AI cannot do that. Understanding the historical lending discrimination, AI doesn't know that. You know it as humans, as SMEs in the business, you understand that better. And that's why your business context in that particular situation is very critical. And lastly is the ethical judgment. Ethics. I think ethics can be downplayed a lot of times, but I think it's very, very important. And in this particular case, no one cared to audit what demographic disparities existed in the solution that they were going to launch. It could have been a lot worse, but thankfully for them, it wasn't anything long lasting, excuse me, that they couldn't easily recover from. This is what going beyond the prompt looks like. Having all these three pillars, all these three skills working together to prevent any negative impact on the solutions that are being prescribed. Now, how do you communicate this kind of value when you're applying for jobs, right? Especially for people who are still in school. I'm sure the thought is, oh, I'm still in school. How do I tailor my resume to show that, to demonstrate that this is who I am, or this is what kind of solutions I have already built, but I'm still in school. Sure, you're still in school. But this is what I want you to take from this. Shift your resume structure from what we have in the before on the slide right now, but more towards what we have in on the right, which is the after. In current state, I'm sure a lot of people, if I ask you for what your resume look like, I would say things like, or you're proficient in SQL, you have built XYZ reporting, you know how to clean data sets, you know how to do this and all the good stuff. But that is something I can have my AI tool do for me, right? As a hiring manager, I am no longer looking for somebody who is proficient in SQL or Python or any kind of scripting. I'm looking more towards the next level. How are you using AI today? Have you adopted the use of AI, right? And if you're using AI, how are you using AI to prescribe solutions? How are you using it to deliver results, right? For instance, you reduce churn 18% by building predictive model with AI Copilot, right? The formula here is what the problem was. What did you do to solve that problem with human AI collaboration? Again, human AI collaboration. What are you using AI to do to achieve XYZ results? You need to go beyond what we have in the before and start moving towards the after. Show the human value beyond the prompt. AI amplified the work. You drove the impact. You are the driver here. You're the one using all those 3 skills we defined earlier to deliver on a measurable result. And again, for students, talking about results, I'm still in school. I don't know, how would I start building results, or how do I start using AI to drive solutions? That is actually something that you should start learning to do, or you should have started doing yesterday, right? But because you didn't know about this yesterday, today is also not too late. Like, get started with it right away. You have to build your action playbook, which is the 3 things that I have on my screen right now. Build a project, identify projects just around you, whether it's as simple as, oh, the parking lot has XYZ kind of problem, or just the metering system at my house doesn't work as good. I need to build a solution around that. Identify a problem within your reach and try to prescribe a solution using AI adoption with it. For the curriculum advice, or for the lecturers or the professors in the house, this is where I think we can also do better. During my grad school, every subject or every course I took had a project. Every course I took had a project. So at the beginning of the course, we had a project. There were certain deliverables by different times or different weeks during the semester. But at the end of the year, I have to present a final research paper and a presentation slide similar to what we have here on the solution that I solved with that project that I worked on. I think using this and integrating this into our curriculum would actually also help us start thinking problem solution, as opposed to just theory of all the different things that we walk through in the university. For the first one, like I said, identify a project, pick a real world problem, right? Use AI, leverage AI to generate the code, drive the right prompt, use the right prompt with AI, understand be able to identify where AI is going to go wrong and give you a wrong response to your prompt. You have the business context. Again, using the parking lot as an example, you know the times of day when it's a lot busier. You know the times of the week when there's nobody in the parking lot. You know when the problem is the most, right? You can use that to define the right prompts to your AI tool, the tool you're using, and you can use that to prescribe better solutions, right? The second piece here is master an AI copilots. So there are different AI tools out there that you can use. There's several of them. But again, the question is, which one is applicable to me, or which one should I use? I wouldn't say just use anyone. Absolutely not. Everyone has different areas or different industry that they are much more focused towards or focused on. I am a business person, I'm a data person, and that's why I would rather go for more Power BI kind of resources or Tableau resources, the ones that I know would enable me, the ones that I know will enable me to strive as an SME in data career, right? However, somebody who is a supply chain expert or a logistics person or a marketing person, what you will need to learn is going to be different, right? So tailor your target the tools that you need to learn to the industry that you're most interested in. Whatever rocks your boat is what you need to go to. And don't join the bandwagon of, hey, everyone is learning this tool, then I want to learn it. No. Ensure that it's what you're mostly interested in and what will add value for you. I know a lot of people like to say education is a scam, but trust me, it is not. Absolutely not a scam. And speaking to that, just an example, in my current role, or my joining Amazon was not because I applied to Amazon myself. I didn't, right? It was somebody who saw my profile on LinkedIn and saw, oh, this person is a data person, but she also has a background in industrial engineering, right? And he reached out to me, and long story short, I was employed. I wasn't employed because I'm a data person. I was employed because I'm a data person who is a subject matter expert as an industrial engineer. So understand that there's a correlation between what your background is and how you can be an SME in different fields. And speaking also on that towards the business context, also being an industrial engineer helps me better see problems that another person who is also a data professional myself, like myself, would not see in that space when we're talking about supply chain, capacity management, operations research, lean manufacturing, or things like that. And that's because I, as an industrial engineer, I have that background knowledge, I have that business context, not just looking at the data on a high level. So connecting the dots between what you want to do, what industry you want to go to, will help you determine, the right tools, the right skill sets that you need to possess. And the last one here is learn to speak CEO. I mentioned earlier that communication there's a big gap between our technical expertise and how we're able to communicate things. Leaders are more business oriented. What's the end goal? What do you want me to drive? What do you want me to see in the report that you have built or in the action plan that you have created? What's the go-to? My VP always says, what's the punchline? Like, what do I take from this? Just give me that one liner on, oh, you need to increase marketing, or you need to increase the investment in XYZ tool because it's going to give you this result. What's the punchline, right? You need to be able to speak that. So once you have your projects defined, once you master a co-pilot to solve the project that you have identified, have a 3-liner or a 3-paragraph summary of what the end goal is and what the solution is. Give it to somebody who is not an expert in your field to start with, somebody who is oblivious of what your field is about. Have the person read it. It could be a kid as well. Have he or she read it. If the person doesn't understand what you have done, that means your communication is flawed. You need to revise it. And communication is going to be an ongoing one because you continue to refine that. The better you get, you continue to refine that based on your audience, right? The first 2, you can start those right away. There's no waiting on those, right? Start that right now, right now. And it's not when I say right now, I don't mean get up your bed and start learning how to use a particular AI tool. No, I mean build an action plan towards it. And don't be a procrastinator, like I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. The time is yesterday. If you missed out on it yesterday, get started today. So this is the best time to do it. Yesterday was the best time to do it. The second best time is right now. So make sure you get doing and building on all the skills that I've talked about, the prompt engineering, the business context, as well as the ethical judgment. Those are 3 skills that are critical even while you're working through your action playbook. I think that brings me towards the end of this. Yes, it does. Yeah, so for Q&A, I threw a couple of questions in there, but I would like to hear you all start first before I go into answering these ones, just in case you have any questions that you'd like me to address first.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Fatima. Thank you. I must confess that you did very well. You did justice to the topic. I must commend you. Thank you very much. Before we go to the Q&A session, we want to take Google message and reactions from our guests of honor, starting with the chairman, Engineer Jedile. If you're still with us, please, your remark as regards the topic tonight.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, the guest lecturer has done justice to the topic, and I really give kudos to her. She said this is the right time to do the needful. Over the past decades, AI has fundamentally transformed data analytics, not by eliminating jobs, but by automating routine tasks and elevating what remains. Whether you are launching your career, leading a team, or shaping organizational strategy, this session explores how to build sustainable value in the AI era by developing 3 irreplaceable skills, as she has rightly mentioned. Prompt engineering, by directing AI effectively. Business context, by understanding the why and behind numbers. And lastly, the ethical judgments, asking, should we, not just can we, through real-world case studies, including the Goldman Search Apple card algorithms, we see what happens when these skills are missing at any career level, and walk away with an actionable playbook to strengthen your AI era value proposition today. She advises students and early career professionals this decision for their practical strategies for standing out in their first roles. And she also advised the mid-career and senior professionals to gain frameworks for leading AI adoption, mentoring teams, and demonstrating strategic impact. And for those people that are in academics, faculty, and curriculum designers, this season provides insight into evolving industry expectation and practical approaches for integrating business contexts, ethical judgments, and AI augmented problem solving into data education. We have listened to her and she has done the needful. The onus is on us now to do the needful. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, the chairman, Engineer Ojedele. Thank you very much. The onus is on us now to do the needful, and the time is now. We'll take goodwill message from the special guest of honor, Professor COO Kolawole, the Vice Chancellor of Trinity University. Professor.
Well, I thank you for the privilege of the lecture. I'm not a fan of AI. I wasn't before this lecture. But having listened to this lecture, I now know that if I want to continue to be relevant, I need to start doing something about it. And I promised I will start now, because the lecturer said to us the best time to start was yesterday. So if the best time to start was yesterday, and it's too late for me to start yesterday, I will start right now. I want to thank her for the brilliant presentation, for the series of things that we have learned. And I want to say that I thank the department for putting up this kind of opportunity for people like us who are not in core engineering discipline, but who can participate and benefit from bringing the knowledge of discipline, curriculum, language into AI, into engineering, deploying the benefit that AI has made available. Just like the last speaker said, the implication now is we have to start now, all of us, if we don't want to be left behind. So once again, I appreciate the honor, and I thank everyone for the lecture. Thank you. I'm done, sir. Thank you, sir.
Professor, I was struggling to hear you, sir. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Prof said that is starting now. And that's a challenge for us, the younger generations, to also follow suit. Thank you very much for that goodwill message. And also to our special guest of honor, Dr. Adirunke Ajaf, for your special good for your good message, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for inviting me. And thank you, Engineer Fatima, for making it so clear. I had been, like I said, paid for a few courses, encouraging us to be very educated as far as AI is concerned. And I'm glad that I did, because at least it has moved me forward. But I thank you for saying that we don't have to take all courses. At least do look for what is relevant to your field and try and do that. Also, the prompt engineering, the business context, and the fact that ethical judgment, those are things, like you said, that are relevant in any field of life, not necessarily in the engineering or particular data area, but every area of life is where we should apply these things, and we'll find that will be the better for it. And especially that we are responsible. We are the superior. If there's anything like a partnership between AI and humans, we are the senior partners and should see that as something for which responsibility cannot be shelved. We cannot at any time deny our own position. We can't say it was AI that misled me, AI made me to do it. We now know that responsibility lies on us. The onus lies on us to make sure that we check everything. We be sure that we are doing the right thing. We have the right reason for doing it. I want to thank you very much. As I said, the University Health Service is also doing as much as we can. And with this enlightenment, I believe we will even do better still. Thank you, everybody. So if you must say it, you say be your own primary caregiver, then be your own primary AI user. Be responsible in that area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Terminology.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much for that.
Mm.
We want to take comments, please, from the audience. Do well by, I think we had somebody raising a hand at that time. Please, can you do well by raising again? Yes, Dr. Olafisoye. Yes, please, you can unmute and make your comment or question. All right, please kindly unmute yourself. All right.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good day, Ma, and thank you very much for such an insightful and enlightening presentation. I truly appreciate the depth of knowledge you shared. I would like to ask a question. No, most of the presentations that I attended, it appears that there was little or no discussion on application of artificial intelligence in the oil and gas industry, especially considering the vast amount of data generated in this sector. For someone who is interested in leveraging AI tools to solve engineering problems in oil and gas, what will you advise as the best starting point? Then what key skills, tools, or areas should such a person focus on initially? Also, do you believe there are real opportunities for such individuals to fully take advantage of AI era in solving the complex technical challenges within the oil and gas industry? That's my question.
Can I go ahead and respond? Engineer Diashun, can I go ahead?
Yes. Fatima, please.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. It's a very, very interesting question, and I think it's a very relevant question as well. Funny, my husband also works in oil and gas, and I would definitely encourage him or give him a response like I'm about to provide. So first off, what AI tools should you learn? I think in one of my slides, I did mention that it's critical that you tailor what you're learning, the skills that you're learning, to the field that you're most interested in. I'm a data practitioner. I don't know all the AI tools, right? There's so many of them out there. You have to look for the one that is relevant to your field of study. In terms of what tool to use now, if I wanted to respond to your question by helping you find it, I would use my prompt engineering on any AI tool at all, right? And I would ask the same question you ask, right? We have XYZ problem in an oil and gas field. What are the relevant AI tools that I can use to adopt, to solve, to provide solutions in this field? Again, my prompt engineering carefully tailored to the problem that I want to solve. So that's how I would address it. In terms of technical skills that you need to learn, again, I'm a data person. I don't know exactly what problems you're trying to provide solutions for. But if it's around data-related solutions within oil and gas that you're looking for responses to, then I am your go-to. And for such, I would say, again, the technical skills or technical knowledge in all the different Python scripts or Python libraries or SQL queries, those are still relevant because, again, when you're using the prompts and you get your solution from those prompts, you need to still be the truth auditor in those outputs that you get. So all the initial skills that I mentioned, whether it was what was relevant in what was read in my citation or the ones that I mentioned through the slides, are still very relevant in a data-oriented career in any field at all, whether it's in supply chain or oil and gas. As long as it's data, right? It's how we approach the data is going to be the same. It's just the insights and the strategies that we build out of them that will be different. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Tokbe.
Thank you very much. We have another person here, Eguri Ashe. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Atika.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Engineer Fatima, Mustafa. This is a very, very incisive and very educated webinar. Thank you very much for your effort. And also thank the organizing committee, the department. Yeah, my question is this. Actually, the previous person just asked my question, kind of, but let me just be a bit specific. Now, we are industrial and petroleum engineering students, and so I really want to ask specifically now, like what particular tools, like say for we in this particular industry, to strive with an AI tool. I know they mentioned ChatGPT, but what particular tool? That's my question. Thank you.
Sorry, was your question what particular tool do you use as an industrial engineer? Is that the question? Sorry.
Yes.
Industrial engineering is broad, right? Which field of industrial engineering per se would you want to go into? And similar to the response I gave to the previous question, this is why we use my prompt engineering, right? Use any available AI tool, even your ChatGPT, right? Provide a prompt to ChatGPT around all the fields you're interested in under industrial engineering, and exactly what kind of tools are you trying to look for, whether it's AI tool, technical skills, or technical tools that you need to use that would help you towards your career as an industrial engineer in XYZ field. Does that make sense?
All right, thank you, Fatima. Okay, we have our 3 more persons. We just quickly take them because of time. Engineer Folabi Babarin, sir, can unmute and ask a question. So aside this 3, we'll not be able to accommodate any more questions now. Yes, Engineer Folabi Babarin, sir.
Okay. All right. I can see. I'm now unmuted. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Mustafa Momi, that's wonderful from you. it's a very, 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 very good presentation. I personally enjoyed it, and many of us who attended this, we enjoyed it. I want to find out from you first. My son just completed his master's in industrial engineering and is very passionate with this course. However, he, like you said, and the last guy asked a question for somebody who will be working in oil and gas. I graduated from oil and gas industry. What I mean by that is that I work in oil and gas and I retired from there. I enjoyed it. In how can you assist this my boy, especially in the mentoring of oil and gas? He's already in one now. I will need him to move forward on it, especially on AI, so that he can, as a young boy, so that he can be able to achieve his set goal. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
That's my question in a nutshell.
So if I'm not mistaken, the question is more around mentorship, right?
Exactly. That is the right word, like mentorship.
Yeah, that's a good one. I am available to mentor. I am more than willing to share best practices, as the case may be. I do have my LinkedIn profile on the screen, so your son you should feel free to reach out, and we can take it up from there.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Is somebody who has been jumping from one good company to another. Right now, Dangote has already picked him up and is thinking of even going higher. So I will send your message to him.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Engineer Fatima, for making yourself available for mentoring. We appreciate you. Okay, we have Ezekiel Adelere. Adelere. That will be all for now. Ezekiel Adelere. Please, you can unmute.
That's Baba Adenina.
Oh,
Professor Ezekiel Adeniran.
sorry, sir.
Please.
Prof, sir.
Hello, how are
Yeah,
you? Good evening.
Yes, sir.
That's Professor, our chairman of last edition.
Oh,
So,
welcome, Prof. Good evening, sir.
How are you? Good
Very
evening.
fine, sir. Please, the floor is yours, sir.
Good evening. I hope you're hearing me now.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. So thank you, Fatima. That was a wonderful. I just want to thank you on the three pillars of AI that you advise people or all of us to use. I do use AI a lot, and I want to allude to your comment on ethical consideration, because most of the time, AI, just like you said, AI does not know what humans know. And there's this hallucination that usually happen in AI. At one time, a paper was sent to me for peer review, and the person cited the work I did with Professor Bamiro. And as I was reading it, and I saw the citation, and I looked at what the guy said that we did. It was not what, but there was no relevance between that work and what he quoted in that paper. So immediately I returned to the chief editor to say that this is AI generated and the papers should not be accepted. That will underscore the importance of this lecture that you have given today. That as highlighted, there should be engineering prompt, there should be business consideration, and of course, there must be auditing by human. And so I agree with you 100% that there is no way AI will take over the job of humans. Thank you very much. And
Thank
the
you, sir.
organizer, I want to thank you also. I've become your disciple, and I promise that as I have the information, I will be attending the meeting month after month. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Prof. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for making it time to attend tonight's lecture again. We are so happy to have you again, sir. Thank you very much for that comment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, so we can see if you go through the chat, you see a lot of reactions. We want to thank Engineer Fatima for doing justice to the topic. For me, I think the speaker has challenged us. We are now more challenged than ever. We are more challenged now because the fear of AI replacing our job is now over. It must be.
But we have work to do.
We have to work. We have a lot to do.
But we have work to do.
They're not shifting. They're no longer the way we used to think. We are now more thinkers from what you have said tonight. And again, the point you mentioned is that more jobs are being created. As from the statistics, we see that the number of jobs that are being created cannot be compared to the number of jobs that have been created. Only that the dynamics have changed. So the hardcore is being replaced by the softcore now. And the key aspect, which we must not forget, the three aspects you mentioned, the three skill sets, the prompt engineering, the business context, and the ethical judgment. And this you have said that AI cannot replace humans in that aspect. We want to appreciate you for this challenge. And as Professor Kolawole said, that he is starting. So we must not stand aloof. We must join the train now, do more. I want to appreciate you. Thank you very much. So right now, I want to take a final remark from our guest lecturer, Engineer Fatima. Your final remark before the vote of thanks.
Thank you again, Engineer Adeosun. Just to recap all that has been said, let's try to embrace the adoption of AI and tone down on the thought that AI is here to take my job. Make it more, AI is here to make my life easy so that I can think of more strategic things, right? I can devise more strategic solutions for the business, for the organization and whatnot. Use AI. Don't be scared of AI. Proudly say you used AI to do this, right? And also, as much as possible, improve upon your skills, your AI skills, right? Learn the right skills for the industry you're interested in. Also remember that your role lies beyond the prompts, right? Beyond the prompts. You need to ensure that your prompt engineering is solid, right? Business knowledge is very critical. You need that business context to be able to drive the right, AI related decision making, right? Ethical judgment is also very, very critical, right? You need to make sure that you're querying, you're debugging the bias in any solution that is being provided to you. Because a lot of times you might be blind to the bias. Again, it's unconscious, it's not intentional, right? But when you poke around, when you look holistically, 360-degree view, you're able to identify that, oh, this solution is actually one-sided or it's a little biased. We need to refine it to prescribe a better solution. high level, AI is not here to take your job. AI is here to improve upon how you do your job. The goal now lies with you with better strategic thinking, critical thinking, and driving more impactful solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Professor Oladopo.
Thank you, Engineer Fatima.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Prof, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We are very happy and we appreciate our dear Engineer Fatima. I saw a hand and I wish it speaks. I saw the hand of Engineer Kemi Mustafa. Is he still in the house? Engineer Mustafa, are you there? I saw his hand. Fatima, is he still in the house?
Yes, there was a hand. There was a yes.
It should still be in the house, I guess.
I want to hear his voice. How are you, sir?
Very, very fine, sir. Very,
You are going to ask a comment, and you drop down your hand. We want to hear your comment now. when Fatima Mustafa talks, I would like to hear Engineer Mustafa talk.
No, I was going to provide some insight into the guidance that was provided earlier by Fatima around first we have to realize that we have to be master of our own field, so that we're not churning around like jack of all trade and master of none. If we're master of one, that's when we can be an expert at telling the story that the data is supposed to tell to drive business value. And I think that that's the insight that she provided. Irrespective of the industry you are, you have to first be an expert in that industry. Start small, take up internship, take up projects, and that gives you the baseline to test your skill, build an history for yourself that you can leverage on to start your career, whether early or mid-career or you're switching. That's just my comment. Thank you for the invitation, and thanks for the good job that you guys are doing.
Great. We are very happy to hear your voice. Yes, you've been a friend of the department.
Extra insight, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's great. So I want to thank everybody. I really appreciate us for coming. I see a lot of very senior people in the house. I see Engineer Bello Adesadi, current registrar. We are very happy to have you, sir. And he's been a friend of the department. I see Engineer Adeshina Mofoluwasho, CEO of Kakasa Engineering Service Limited in the house. And we are very glad that you find time to join us. I see Professor Fadare in the house. And I see a lot of our friends. So we are very happy that we are here. Engineer Adisa Bello, we are very glad that you came around again today. Baba Adeniran, the Dean of Engineering at Barcode University, and one of our mentors. We are very happy to have you. Professor Oluleye is in the house. We are very happy to see Professor Oluleye. And so thank you all for coming. If I'm not able to mention your name, don't mind me. I'm trying to scroll. We really appreciate you. Engineer Eden will give the vote of thanks properly. I just want to announce that the next edition will be coming up on May 8th, second Friday of May. Our guest speaker will be Engineer Ginga Shoyemi, another alumni, first-class graduate of our department. He's the supply chain project manager for Nestle Nigerian PSC. We'll be talking about data as the new raw materials, how engineers can lead with analytics. So I want us to put it in our calendar and let's join in our next discussion next month. And we are using this opportunity to announce to you that on our teacher and our mentor, our dearly beloved Professor Ayodeji Oluleye, will be retiring this year in September. And by the grace of God, we are going to celebrate him. He has invested into the life of many of us. I'm sure that every one of us who graduated from industrial engineering up to now, we all pass through him one way or the other. And now that he's 70 and he'll be retiring, we want to celebrate him. We'll be doing basically 2-3 things. We are going to have a book of reading in his honor, and the call for that book of reading, chapter in that book is out. We encourage you to send in your contribution. You are not going to pay anything. We'll publish it. Very high quality book. It will be hosted online. You can use it for your promotion, and you will be also able to contribute to the discussion. So whenever you see the call for submission of papers, we want to encourage you to submit papers. It's a very good platform for you to. We also have a valedictory lecture and celebration in his honor to be hosted that day on 18th September at Treasure Hall. And we are going to, by the grace of God, dedicate a learning space in his honor. Professor Oluyeye deserves it because he has invested a lot into the training of industrial engineers. It's also a season of celebration for us. One of our professors will be giving the 611th inaugural lecture, Professor C.O. Anyoche. And so want to put it in your calendar, April 23, 2026. That's just some few days now. You'll be talking on from complexity to clarity, operation management, and the pursuit of work system excellence. 3 p.m. on Thursday, August 23.
April.
April 23. So we encourage you to come, and we look forward to hosting you. Again, don't forget 44th edition. God bless us. I really appreciate you for coming. I hand over to our dear Dr. Edem to give a formal vote of thanks. Dr. Edem.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, I hope ahead.
Yes, sir, we can hear you,
Please,
sir.
can I kindly confirm if I'm being heard?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Loud and clear, please.
Engineer Paul.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Thank you so much. Yes, we want to just thank everyone. Thank you so much. Yes. I want to thank everyone
Dr. Edem, your line is unstable.
finding time to be around for. Thank you. So we want to thank everyone for finding time to be available for this beautiful lecture. So we had a time.
Dr. Edem. Please, let's be patient with him. I guess he's having a hard time with his network.
It's okay, maybe we'll do it on behalf of Dr. Eden. Network can be very tricky.
Yes.
Again, on behalf of the Department of Industrial and Production Engineering, we want to express our appreciation to our guest lecturer, Engineer Fatima, for giving us a wonderful lecture. We appreciate you. We appreciate your constant support to the department. You and your husband, you have been a friend of the department. You have supported us over the years. We really appreciate you. We appreciate our special guest of honor, Professor COO Kolawole, a senior member of the University of Ibadan. Some of us have been looking at you from a distance. You are like a distant mentor to some of us. We really appreciate you. Sir, thank you for finding time. I know you are busy there in Ekiti State. You still find time to be part of this occasion. I want to thank you for coming. We appreciate Dr. Yes, sir. We appreciate Dr. Aderonke Ajaf for coming. We really thank you for taking time to be part of industrial engineering today. We are very grateful. We appreciate our chairman, Engineer Ojedele, a very good friend of the department. He has always been part of our department, looking for IT slots for our students, mentoring our young lecturers who want to become members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. So we thank you for always being a member of the department. We thank all senior people in the house, professors in the house, a lot of our professors, fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers in the house. We appreciate you. We thank all our friends, our alumni, a lot of our senior alumni are in the house. We appreciate all of you for coming and for your support. And in particular, financial support to the department, because you have really kept us going, paying for our Zoom license, equipping our department. And we know that as we are preparing for Professor Oluleye's retirement party, that you will empty you will open the bank account for us and roll out money for us to celebrate our teacher. So I'm thanking you in advance for how you are going to make that event a very glorious one. So everybody, we thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We wish you a wonderful night rest. God bless you all, and thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. God
Thank
bless
you very much.
Thank you, lecturer.
Good
Thank you,
night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe to you also.